Hi friends, welcome back. So headline, Elon Musk Tesla is buying ads on Elon Musk X to get Elon Musk 55 billion pay package approved. And yes, this is a real headline, and yes, this captures the absurdity that we currently face in today's markets. Hi friends, welcome back. And I want to go over a couple of things. I think it's fun to talk about this stuff, and I want to make it really clear when we talk about these things, don't just think it only applies to understanding Tesla. Think about it in terms of how can you gain knowledge and skills to evaluate future investments for yourself. So let's just jump right in. And there's a question I want to address. I think it's a fun one. This is actually from Nathan, and I want to hear your guys' response to Nathan's question. So he watched one of my videos recently, about 18 hours ago, and Nathan writes, you say, and this is me quoting me now, does Jensen believe Tesla, right, talking about Tesla here, is ahead of all self-driving cars? I doubt it, and he's quoting me, right? So I'm doubting that Jensen really believes that, Jensen being the CEO over at Nvidia. And this is the rest of the Nathan's thoughts. Nathan says, I thought this was a pretty well established fact, right? That they are the leading company for self-driving cars. So we're talking about Tesla. So Nathan says he thinks it's a fact, pretty well established fact, in fact, it's from Nathan, that Tesla is a leading company for all for self-driving cars. So what else would Jensen possibly believe? No one is anywhere near to where Tesla is with self-driving. Chevrolet has some cruise control feature that works on specific highways. That's pathetic compared to what Tesla is doing. That's Nathan's quote. And again, if you want a response for Nathan, please let me know. But I want to go into this stuff because I think it's a fun, and it really captures sort of many retail investors out there and why we need to talk about this stuff every day. This is first, I understand that this is an emotional issue for many people. Tesla stock is down, 27% year to date. I think from top to bottom, you might be down around 50%, something of that nature. And I don't know the exact percentage. It's always in that. Basically, you lost half your money. The other thing is, too, is when you talk about these things, I understand that people just kind of ignore other companies for whatever reason. There's a company called Waymo, and actually they have robotaxis on the road now. Now, my understanding is, and this picture is Jaguar, but I don't want to question there, but I think they do other vehicles as well. But in these things that I've been seeing, they partner with Jaguar. But the key is the technology that they're using. Also, too, Baidu. It says here, Baidu's robotaxi unit expects to turn profitable next year. And I guess they've been giving a bunch of rides. It says even just the last 3 months, 893,000 robotaxi rides. And the question I posed to someone like a Nathan, remember, robotaxi is supposed to be the future of Tesla. How many robotaxi rides has Tesla given? Please, I'd like to hear. You guys already know the answer to that, right? Zero. They haven't done any of that kind of stuff. And there are other companies actually already charging money for this stuff. And so I think it's really strange that people think that Tesla's like so far ahead when like literally there are other companies out there. And I'm just giving you a couple. I'm going to give you some more. And guys, there's a lot. There's really a lot of competition, and I'm not just making stuff up. These people are already charging money to get in said, robot driver things. This is actually here in Korea. This is somewhat of a tourist attraction. I have not done it myself. It's a bus. It looks like that. And it says here, Seoul expands self-driving bus service as a new tourist attraction. You hop on the bus and it's a robot that drives you around and just feels like a regular bus. Nothing really special. Kind of the thing that they've been testing also too. I think here in Busan, at least I remember hearing something my mom was telling me on the news where they're trying to do like early morning service. So like, 2 to 4. And, maybe they'll eventually roll these things out. I've mentioned this, guys, before on this stuff, though. I think if they ever do, these things full time or whatever, they'll probably have a separate bus lane. But they already have separate bus lanes as it is already, so that's not so unusual. If you want to say, you can only do, limited this kind of things, only separate bus lanes or whatever, not necessarily the case. This is Hyundai. They had to put out a really interesting video recently, and I told you guys about this before. You can check it out. Really well-made video, to be honest. 28 million views. A lot of people saw it. It was on March 30th, 2024, and they were saying, hey, our Hyundai Ioniq 5 robotaxi can pass a driver's license test, and they were saying that they were SAA, was that the SAVE, was it? I can't remember what the S stands for, but it's like autonomous, is it driving or something like that? But it's level 4. And my understanding is Tesla's level 2. I think Mercedes is level 3. And you guys can remind me what Waymo is, but this idea that Tesla's the only company and the leading one is kind of crazy. And unfortunately, that's the world that we live in, right? If you live in Pumperland, which is flooded on social media, you think, oh, it's normal that one guy using one company to buy ads on his other company to promote his own pay. I can't stop laughing when I see that stuff. But I want to point out though too is that sort of like how do you relate this to sort of the entire market, entire investing is there was a time when there was a lot of hype over this stuff, right? And what a lot of these kind of people say is that, well, we've heard for years that there's competition company coming and it's never come, and Elon has always done so awesome, etc. But like, yeah, that might have been true in the past, right? It might have been true in the past. Maybe Tesla was the only game in town, but you can't keep saying that because it's just simply not true. Also, too, the Tesla people like to say, well, look at all the other companies failing, right? And this is actually news, and I'm just showing you, they are failing, at least in terms of Lucid. I never liked Lucid. I don't know why people ever like Lucid. I thought their cars were ugly and overpriced. And I guess they're firing 6% of their people. And I hope no one who works at Lucid, thinks I hate you personally. I don't. I just never really believed in the company. Now, Fisker, on the other hand, I actually like their designs. I was a little bit leery, though, about whether or not this guy could pull it off because he had another bankruptcy before and he had failed before. And I guess they're firing also. So that's on May 25th. So yes, other companies are failing. So yes, it is true Tesla's profitable, but they are laying off and slowing down. And I don't want to give you the impression though that everyone is firing and slowing down and stock is going down because it's simply not true. Hyundai Motor, which we don't talk about that much on this channel. I live in Korea, guys, and you may not know this. In Korea, there are tons of Kias, Hyundais, and actually another big one is Genesis, all over the place. And there's another brand here in Korea. I think it's called SAIC. I can't remember what that stands for. And then there's a couple other ones that I've seen, and I can't remember the names, but I'll just say it's dominated by Kia and Hyundai are everywhere here. And actually, year to date, Hyundai stock is up 33%. They've been doing absolutely fantastic. And you may not know this, but they're actually in hybrid and electric, right? And that's something that Toyota did as well. They didn't just go all in on electric, and they're doing fine. I'm bringing up Hyundai because they're actually not only doing fine, they introduced something very recently. It's the Kia EV3. I guess they're saying it's going to price this at $35,000. This just came out just recently. And this looks like a pretty nice car, to be honest. I'm looking at this thing and like, this looks pretty good. If you're considering getting a Tesla for probably roughly the same price, so I guess that would be the Model 3 would be the comparable. The Model 3 is looking pretty stale. And I don't know if I would get this one because there's a lot of choices out there. Maybe the Rivian's the one that you have your eye on. But in terms of affordability, sure, yes, these are still more expensive than the oil car. And I never pretend like everyone's going to out and buy an EV. I don't. And I find it strange that people that do. But if you are in the market for this kind of vehicle, I wouldn't surpass this thing. And I'm not being paid by Hyundai, not being paid by Kia, not being paid by Waymo, not being paid by whatever. I'm just saying, as a consumer, this doesn't look like a bad vehicle. But I say this stuff all the time, guys. There's a lot of cars out there. Polestar's another one. I personally think the Polestar, the BMW are also really cool cars. But they cost a lot more. I think they're maybe double the price of something like this. And I'm just pointing this stuff out because there are other manufacturers out there. Don't discount these. This is something else that I think was pretty interesting with the Hyundai. They're introducing this HUD thing. I know other cars have that out there, and I've actually seen this in their Ioniq. I actually made a video about that. I test drove. I think it was the 5 that I test drove, and it was pretty cool. I like this. I honestly really like this HUD stuff, and that's something that's always bothered me about the Teslas is they sort of like put safety in the back seat. But moreover, not only are we talking about Hyundai's putting out new products, Hyundai's doing okay. They're actually doing pretty good in their profitability. I mean, look at these headlines. And again, I mentioned this before on the channel, but if you didn't see that particular video, you may not know it because this kind of stuff doesn't really make news in the USA. It's not something that Americans pay attention to, but this is a real thing. Hyundai Kia outperforms Benz BMW in record earnings, and their operating margins have actually been improving. They're doing great, and they actually beat out Tesla in terms of operating margins, and Tesla's margins are going down, and they're doing price cuts and all kinds of stuff. And this is what it is. So I'm bringing this stuff up because don't discount your competition just because you haven't seen it in the past. When people say, oh, I see you're making money over there, it's hard to keep your lead forever, right? People start to let's say this. Their designs come out very similar to yours, or their ideas come out very similar to yours. It's hard to control for that. And moreover, when Elon Musk and Tesla are making deals in China, I wouldn't be shocked if suddenly, all the car companies in China suddenly have very, very similar sort of FSD technology coming soon. So I also want to bring up the point, guys, and you might know this, for those of you new to the channel, I'm 49. I'll be 50 next year. And why do I bring this up? Because I started my investing journey back in 2000, and so I remember the dot-com bubble, and I remember these kind of things. So I'll give you examples. So this was Palm IPO. And for those of you out there who will enough to remember a Palm Pilot, raise your hand, put a hand in the comment. You'll know exactly what these things are. These were PDAs. And actually, honestly, I forgot what PDAs stand for. I totally forgot. So if you don't know, it is a personal digital assistant. These were all the rage. So this is back in the dot-com bubble. They look like this. And actually, even today, this is not a bad design. It's a lot easier on your eyes if they updated. Because if you guys have ever seen these new... what do you want to call it? They're like something ink. I just can't remember the name of it. Like there's these devices out there because I've seen them in the store here. I'm gonna tell you flat out, Koreans make pretty cool stuff. I think it's either LG or Samsung or both. They have these new laptops that are like kind of ink screens. So they're black and white, but they're really just meant to be like just for text kind of stuff. And it makes the looking at your screen so much better. And this is something that I've been considering. I wish I could figure out a way to because I have a color monitor, but have like an ink monitor for my writing and doing emails or writing or whatever text-based stuff, reading the news, and then having color monitor for surfing the web. Because this kind of screen, to be perfectly frank, is not great for surfing the web. But and this is an old screen. Don't look at this Palm Pilot as being like that's what it is today. But I'm saying the ink like screens today are fantastic. It's like looking at like paper stuff. So the technology is moving quite ahead. But anyway, I diverse. But I'm just saying that this was the rage back then. Palm Pilot even made flippy phones, which I want my flippy phone. You can never convince me that flippy phone's not cool. I want my phone to be smaller, not bigger. And I feel like phones keep getting bigger. I don't know what they're doing. And then they I guess Palm Pilot started to go more like your BlackBerry kind of thing, right? So this was all the rage. The thing went IPO. It like quadrupled. I think the IPO was like $30. It went up to like 98, something like that. And then it had a crash. You can see that in about 2 years. And then roughly 10 years later, actually HP bought them for 1.2 billion. And it was interesting because I think the peak of this thing was like 500 billion. Or no. I'll say I think maybe it was 50 billion. That's probably not 500. I think it was like 50 billion or something like that. But I mean, you can tell from the chart it basically lost all of its value. And essentially, they got beat out because they faced severe competition. You guys know Apple ended up winning, at least in the short term. I mean, now Apple has a lot of competition in itself, right? But Apple came along, right? And suddenly these PDAs weren't as cool anymore. And it's kind of funny because this was a tweet that I found. I thought it's a clever one. This person says, this is Tomomi Imura, says, I just remembered about 11 years ago, the time companies like Apple, HP, and a few others were bidding to buy Palm Inc., right? That was the Palm Pilot. We, Palm employees, wanted Facebook to buy us so we could rename the company to Face Palm. That's like the best joke ever, right? But the point is you get experience, and when you see sort of how things get hyped up, right? And how there might be you're the first mover, but then if you're the second mover, and these are just sort of business terms here, if you're the second mover, the first mover, spent all of their money in R&D and sort of like figure out which product categories work, which don't work. And the second mover, you can come in, and maybe the first mover gets that first sort of brand, right? But if you're established and you kind of got your supply chains working, you got a competent staff, and I'm saying guys like Hyundai, Kia. Over here in Korea, they're not dummies. I'll say we're not dummies. I have a lot of friends that work at various companies. I'll give you another example. When I was I used to teach at Hongdae, and if you guys know this, it's kind of equivalent to NYU in Korea. It's a top design school, and I taught film and TV, and a lot of my students actually work in creating media, etc. And I teach at the graduate level, and I had many friends actually too, also that essentially. We're working on Squid Game and other things like that. And they ended up, I mean, obviously you guys know the Squid Game is actually quite good. This was an interesting thing because at the time, right, back then, 10 years ago, Korean stuff was cool, but it wasn't necessarily what it is now, right? And now we have like, popular acts like BTS, etc. It's the same way when people first saw Korean cars, they make fun of it. The same way people first saw Japanese cars, they make fun of it, right? I mean, these days, no one makes fun of Toyota. You'd be a fool. I mean, those Camrys, those Corollas sell like hotcakes, and I think it's going to be even more competitive now. Kia and Hyundai are coming online, and look out, BYD from China might end up being really good as well. And maybe we'll all be doing face palms. So I just want to just really say, take competition seriously. Don't discount it. And also too, don't close your mind to just one country and one, company. There are a lot of competition and other people out there in the world. Now, with that said, I want to bring into what could possibly happen with Nvidia, because I think this is related to the Tesla situation. So one of the things that you want to think about when you're investing is how big is your moat, right? Like how much protection do you have? How original, how different are you than other companies? Do you have some sort of, ISP that other companies don't have? What can you do that other people can't do? What's your company's superpower, right? Now with Nvidia, I know they're the leader right now, but I just don't think they're going to necessarily dominate forever. There's a lot of competition out there. And people say, oh, Chris, you're so dumb. NVIDIA's so awesome. They're going to be awesome forever. But I mean, that's what people thought about Palm Pilot. And if you're old enough to remember these things, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. So, it's tough to maintain dominance forever. Even something like an Apple, right? When they first came out, they were cool at first. And they're still cool. Guys, I have Apple. I like Apple products. But I don't pretend like they're the only company out there. It's weird. And the other thing that I want to point out with this is that it is unhealthy right now in our market with Nvidia. Nvidia has gone up in the past with year to date 121%. I was looking at the S&P 500 gone up 11%, right? And Nvidia is like a big part of the S&P. I think it's something like, I want to say it's like 7 or 8% of the S&P, something like that, in terms of weighting. And all of the gains in Nvidia, when you do the math, it's something like 40% of the gains in the S&P. So if you take away, it's like really a lot. So if you take away Nvidia from the market, suddenly S&P is like only up like 5%, something like that. So you guys understand what I'm saying? And this right now seems to make a really unhealthy market. So basically, what's carrying our market right now in many of the index funds is this AI craze. Will it last forever? That's the question. And will Nvidia be the only one? So I want you to understand, like, just think about this. Think in terms of history. And I want to give you another example. This was Lululemon. Their stock has just been awful this year. There's like bottom. I mean, maybe worse than Tesla and Boeing. Wow, how bad can it possibly get, right? And they actually did really, really well last couple of years. And all these people were buying it. And honestly, I never really understood this, and I would ask, my wife, and ask, and essentially, because this is and men do buy this brand, but I think it's primarily their main customer is a women's brand. They do yoga, and it was like, is it really that much better? You're charging, I think, like basically $100 leggings and stuff like that. And I was looking at just today, I was looking at like competition, like say for example Nike. Nike's prices are like kind of the same, right? $100 for legging, this kind of stuff. And the problem with something like a Lululemon is like, what's differentiating you from someone else? In terms of branding, I think maybe they have cooler colors, maybe people like their nicer logo. And yes, maybe they have a better fit. I'm saying yes, but I mean, it's not like Nike can't just change the way they design their clothes. I mean, they can do it like every season, right? It's not just Nike. Adidas could do it. Under Armour could do it. Right? Any number of companies out there. And I think for someone like a Lululemon, I just never saw their moat, unless I'm missing something. And I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts if you're into this stuff. Also too, whenever I look at this thing, the valuation was always just not great, right? Yes, they're growing. Yes, they're profitable, right? Same with Tesla, they're growing profitable, but it's just like, it's just, the valuation's not good. And meaning that, what are you valuing the company? And this is kind of the stuff that I look for. And so when you do your investing in these kind of things, and I don't know what Nathan knows or doesn't know, but ask yourself, okay, what kind of products does the company that I like, what do they put out? Is it the kind of product that other companies can copy or not? What is the total, addressable market, or how many people out there will buy said product? Is it a growing industry, not a growing industry, et cetera? And be honest with yourself about these kind of things, right? There's a lot of factors that you can put in here, but I just wanted to sort of open your mind and understand that it's tough to dominate a market, and moreover, if it is indeed really, really profitable, there will be definitely other players that jump in 100%, because they'll be seeing all the money that you're making. They'll be like, I want a piece of that pie. So anyway, I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts on any one of these things. Hopefully this is helpful for you. And I just want to show you some examples from various things around the market, not just Tesla. I know it's fun to talk about Tesla because they got all the drama, but think about all the skills and things that we talk about with Tesla and how it applies to other industries and other companies in your investing journey. So thanks again for watching, everyone, and I'll catch you all in the next video.